Alright, so my first video that I'm making is about my journey with Amazon Flex. So I've been with Amazon Flex now a month, and it's been interesting. But what I got to share with you is going to be a lot more valuable for you guys, especially those who are either thinking of joining or who have just joined and want the best advice and tips that you can have to make your life easier and, of course, to make more money. So let's start off with Amazon Flex and my experience in terms of starting out with them. Even before we start doing any deliveries or any picking up any packages, let me give you some advice in terms of someone starting fresh with Amazon Flex and how to go about being as efficient as possible. Guys, in this episode, we're going to be talking to those people who are thinking about joining Amazon Flex and giving you a little bit of tips and advice before you make that decision. So the number one question that's always asked, particularly for my friends since I've joined Amazon Flex, it's been about a month now. So I think I know a little bit about the system and the pitfalls and the pros and cons. So to be honest, there aren't really any cons in terms of whether someone should join Amazon Flex because the benefits far outweigh the negatives. So the key benefit is that you work in your own time and you can choose whichever blocks that you like at any time or any day that you like. So it gives you flexibility and peace of mind. The thing that you need to be aware about is that, and this question is always asked, can it replace a full-time job? Well, here in the UK, no. Now, obviously, we have Amazon and Amazon Flex all over the world. Every country, every district, every area, every station has its own rules and procedures. In the UK currently, Amazon Flex workers can only work a maximum of 24 hours a week, which in my opinion just doesn't cut it. So it's going to be a subsidized revenue stream rather than a main revenue stream, because 24 hours a week is not even full time. Now, when you consider that you can earn a minimum of £16 an hour, depending on what blocks that you accept, what times and so on and so forth, which I will go into in a little bit more detail. So in terms of the actual income potential, it's not too bad. I mean, £16 an hour is pretty good. And the reason why I say it can be really good or is very good is because there are also, I wouldn't say tricks of the trade, but depending on what blocks you accept and when you finish those blocks, the great thing with Amazon Flex is that if you book a 2-hour slot, 2.5-hour slot, 3-hour slot, 4-hour slot, or whatever slots that you book, if you finish early, you still get paid for those 3, 4, 2-hour slots. So that's really good. So it sort of pushes you to be efficient, and the more efficient you are, the greater your earning potential is. Because let's face it, I mean, if you're going to be doing Amazon Flex or any delivery, working for any delivery company, you want to finish as soon as possible. Now, with most other delivery companies, you don't have that flexibility, but with Amazon Flex, you do, because if you finish early, you still get paid for the block that you had reserved. So if, for example, you're getting £34 for a 2-hour block and you finish in 1 hour, you're still going to get £34. So effectively, you just earned £34 an hour instead of £17 an hour. Who doesn't like that? And that flexibility is really great because you can plan your schedule and your slots. And what I mean by that is that Amazon Flex has this system where on Fridays, mostly in the UK, as I said, every country will have different rules. But with Amazon Flex in the UK, every Friday you get reserve slot or blocks rather, reserve block offers that come to you. So essentially, you're offered a block which you have 10 minutes to accept that block, and it's only reserved for you. Now, that's great because on a Friday and Saturday, when you get these reserved block offers, you can plan your next week ahead well in advance. Otherwise, with Amazon Flex, you have to go onto the app and refresh it, which I will show you, all the time to try and secure a block. So having that option of Fridays mostly, and sometimes it rolls over into Saturdays, of having reserve blocked offers just for you and no one else can accept it. So you have more time and flexibility to consider those blocks and accept them, is actually really good because that allows you to plan ahead for the next week. In particular, when you only have 24 hours of workable time with Amazon Flex as per UK law. The rest of your shifts are basically first come, first serve. So that could be a negative in terms of Amazon Flex, because the reason why, and I'll show you later when we go into the workings of the app and how to reserve blocks, is that you have to imagine that you are one of thousands of people at the same time trying to secure a block or accept a block offer, not a reserved offer. This is like a free for all. So literally you just refresh the app, and once a block comes up, you click it and then accept, and you hope that you can accept it before someone else does. It's literally how it works. It's just like first comes, first serve. So it can be a little bit irritating because you literally have to be behind your phone refreshing and hoping that you can accept that block before someone else does. And that's a downfall because you can't really plan ahead. It's just potluck. And with the current situation or the current mechanisms of Amazon Flex, I've been told they're going to be changing the system or adapting the system to make it a little bit more easier. But at the moment, it is what it is. And it's literally just a free for all. So whilst it gives you flexibility and you can book whenever you like and work as much hours as you like, or up to 24 hours, that is, or as less hours as you like, but it relies on you being able to accept a block. And getting a block is not that easy. Thinking about Amazon Flex, look at it with an open mind. I think it's great because you can earn money, but don't forget, you still have to pay taxes. It just means that you're self-employed now, so you have to declare your income, and then obviously you can minimize or compensate your taxes with taxable deductibles, like for example your petrol or your if you've got an electric car, your charging costs for your vehicle. I highly recommend that you get an accountant. There are many accountancy services specializing in Amazon Flex drivers. So just do a Google search and you'll find many. I'll give you a recommendation in the caption below. The company that I use, and they're great. You pay a fixed fee per month and they take care of all of your finances. Now, this is only really, in my advice, is plausible if you're doing this seriously and you're working with multiple apps, not just with Amazon Flex like I do. And we'll go into that a little bit later. But definitely take into account that you still have to pay taxes. And you need to get an accountant if you want to do it seriously. Obviously need insurance. Now, this is not just regular car insurance, fully comprehensive insurance. It's insurance to cover carriage of goods in delivery. Most insurance companies don't do this, but there are several that do. I recommend using Admiral. I use Admiral. I pay £9.50 a month. And that fully covers me for all deliveries, whether it's dry goods, for example, like Amazon, or deliveries with restaurants and Amazon Fresh. It fully covers you for £9.50 a month. There are other insurance options which are offered also by Amazon, but they work out, in my opinion, way more expensive, particularly if you're doing this more like a full-time job, even though it's not a full-time job because you can only do 24 hours a week. But if you're combining that with other delivery companies, it's well worth getting the Admiral insurance. And as I said, I put the links in the caption below. Use those links and you can sign up to Amazon insurance for £9.50 a month, which I think is a bargain. You're going to need a car. Now, Amazon has certain guidelines in relation to cars, which, to be honest, in my opinion, if your car is decent and roadworthy, then you're fine. But I heard that Amazon are cutting down for safety reasons. And to be fair to them, it's more about safety to you as a Amazon Flex driver rather than any other reason. But also they want to make sure that their goods are protected as well. But that's why you have to have the carriage of goods insurance cover. When you sign up to Amazon, it's a bit of a process. You have to go through various stages, which I think is completely plausible because they need to make sure that you're legit and legal. And once you go through that process, which normally takes about 7 to 10 days, you then get registered and then you can start using the app. Now, I will cover the app and the workings of the app in a separate video, This video is purely just to give you insight into Amazon Flex and the basics before you even decide to join, or if you've just recently joined and you want some information before you start working. Advice to those who want to join Amazon Flex, just bear in mind, because of the 24 hours a week limit, and if you want to do this full-time and not supplement your main income through another job, then my advice is definitely sign up with multiple delivery companies, including, for example, Stewart, which I'm registered with them and joined up with them. And that way you can supplement those 24 hours with other revenue, other income coming in. And then it makes it a lot more plausible. And then, of course, your revenue and income stream can increase. If you consider you can do 24 hours a week currently with Amazon Flex, and you're earning about £16 an hour minimum, so it's potential revenue or income of £384 a week. And then you can multiply that to earn or calculate your monthly potential income. So that's why I said it's never going to replace your full-time job, but it can supplement it very well. And also, if you are intending to do delivery services for full-time, then definitely you need to look at registering with other platforms to subsidize your revenue and income potential. I said you're going to need a decent car, and now Amazon they do checks. They will check your vehicle, spot checks to make sure it's roadworthy. Obviously, they will also, and bear in mind, always carry your driving license whenever you go to pick up, go to a block pickup or go to the station, because in some stations they will always check your driving license. Some will randomly check. Either way, my advice, always have your driving license with you. Otherwise, if you go to a station and you do not have your driving license and they're checking for driving license, then you will be refused to proceed with that block, and then you'll lose any potential income. People ask me about the app. As I said, I'll do a separate video, which I'll link to this one, where you can, where I'll cover the app in more detail. But in my opinion, for a company like Amazon, I was expecting a lot more sophisticated and advanced, technically, an app. But it does what it's supposed to do. It's literally a booking system. The only thing that, as I've said previously, that I don't like with Amazon Flex is the fact that it's really sometimes challenging to get blocks, because thousands of other people at the same potential time are looking for blocks, and you have to accept on a first come first serve basis, or first accept basis, and you're literally just continuously firing away at the refresh button, and it can just get really irritating and frustrating, and sometimes you don't get any blocks. So you have to just be persistent and keep at it. A lot of people ask me, are there any ways of, if you like, bypassing the Amazon Flex app system? Yes, there are bots out there. I don't recommend them. I don't use a bot. I know people that do, but you have the potential of being completely banned and blocked from Amazon. And recently they've upgraded their app so that they can detect when you're using a bot, and they protect themselves with this because bots are always evolving by updates on the app, and you cannot book a block unless you've updated your app. So it's forcing you to update your app so that they can recognize whether you're using a bot or not. So my advice is, don't use bots, because it will kill you. And if they suspect, or if they find out that you're using a bot, you will be banned and blocked, and that's it, done. There is a way to bypass this system, and I will talk about that in a separate video. And I'm not saying that you should use this system or you shouldn't use this system. Technically, it's against Amazon rules, but it's not a bot. But if they suspect or they find out that you're using this system, then it will have the same result as if you're using a bot. But there's a way to be, if you like, extremely cautious in terms of how you use this method so that you don't get detected. And I will show you that in a separate post, which I highly recommend, but it's going to help you a lot, because you get finger tired and just mental, the current system of refreshing, and that's really frustrating, because sometimes I've had this where I couldn't get a block because I'm just not first to accept, and people are also using bots, and they're continuously just refreshing. And if they hit the accept button first, then they're going to get that block. That can be most frustrating, but I can show you how you can bypass that system and help you to get blocks without using a bot. So make sure you check out the link that this post or this review is connected to, and check it out. Basics in terms of Amazon Flex, separate to actual using the app, which I'll cover in a separate post. A lot of people ask me, when is the best time to book a block? So it really depends, because to be honest, everyone keeps saying, oh, there's this formula and blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit, to be honest. There is no formula, it's potluck. Because every time you accept a block, you don't know where you'll be delivering until you actually pick up. And you can pick up in the morning, in the afternoon, at noon, and you could be traveling 10, 15 miles away to do a delivery, and it's not going to really help you anyway. I mean, but then you could have a potluck situation where you accept a block and it's right on your doorstep and it's close to your home. So when you finish, you just literally go home. And as I said before, no matter how many hours the block that you've booked was, when you finish, you get paid. So you can imagine if you accept a block and when you pick up, and if you live in, for example, Wembley, and the delivery is in Wembley, and you finish, you go literally home. And if you finish early, then it's like an extra bonus. So everything about the blocks is all about potluck. There is no formula to it. A lot of people say, well, if I go early, then I'll get a better delivery zone or area to cover. Or if I'm really, really late or wait until the last minute, I'll get a better delivery zone. There is no such thing. It's all potluck. It doesn't matter if you go early or you go late. It's all literally potluck about which location or which delivery area you will get. And just expect that sometimes you're going to get delivery zones or areas which are just ridiculous and mental. Now, for me, if you're in London, the worst delivery zones are in central London for obvious reasons. And the main reason is traffic. But the most important reason is parking. It can be a nightmare. So every time I get a block in central London, I just cringe because I think, oh my God. However, it depends on the time. If you're on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, or bank holidays, then it's great, the central London, because obviously the traffic is not as great, particularly in the mornings. So I always try to do early morning blocks on a Saturday, Sunday, or public holidays, because that way, if I am hit with central London, then it's a breeze. I avoid rush hour blocks during the week for natural reasons, because you will face traffic, and it'll be much more difficult to find parking spaces, depending obviously on the locations. So if I want to give advice, generally speaking, Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays are great for Amazon Flex or accepting blocks, particularly if you're doing early mornings. It's amazing. When I say amazing, in perspective, compared to other times and other days, I think weekends, morning blocks, early morning, like one I just completed now at 7 in the morning, was perfect. And on that note, I just did a block, 7 o'clock pickup or 7 o'clock start, 4-hour block, and I finished in 1 hour 20 minutes. I picked up from Wembley, and my block was in Ealing, which is not too far away, and I finished in 1 hour 20 minutes, and that's it. I'm paid for 4 hours, which is amazing. So I've just literally got £70 for a 1 hour 20 shift, which is absolutely amazing. But that doesn't always happen. But today is a Sunday and it's early morning. So I always try to book the early morning blocks, even during the week. Early mornings are the best, or otherwise during the day before rush hour. So obviously not at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I always try for mornings, noon, 12 to 2, and then in the evenings from 7 o'clock onwards. They're the best times for me to accept blocks. So that's my advice. The other thing I get asked a lot, or I think it's important for you guys to consider, is that Amazon Flex has essentially 3 core delivery products. Number 1 is Amazon delivery. Number 2 is Morrison's. And number 3 is Amazon Fresh. Amazon Fresh is always 1.5 or 2 hour slots. Sometimes they do 1 hour slots, but mostly it's 1.5 or 2 hour slots at the very most. And you get paid a minimum of £17 an hour. Morrison's is the same. It's 1.5 or 2 hour slots, but you get paid a minimum of £16 an hour. So Amazon Fresh actually pays more money. And then you have Amazon Delivery. Amazon Delivery is a minimum of £16 an hour. Now, what are the differences? The differences between Amazon Fresh and Amazon Delivery is Amazon Fresh, as I said, is a maximum of 2 hours. And because it's grocery shopping, you're going to get on average 5 to 6 deliveries per block, sometimes less, but no more than 6. I've never faced a situation of having more than 6, but it can be easier because you're literally dealing with only 6 deliveries, but then you've got more packages. So you can have anywhere from 1 bag to 15, 20 bags for a delivery. But in any event, you're not going to have more than 30, 32 bags per delivery. Some people find Amazon Fresh easier because, as I said, you're just dealing with 6 deliveries, and obviously not as pressurized as jumping in and out of your car every other minute or so. And I find with Amazon Fresh that if I'm doing a 2 hour slot, I normally finish early, almost 99% of the time. And normally I finish 1 hour early. So I'm literally getting paid £34 for 1 hour slot. It can stretch to an hour and a half, but in any event, it's always early. I've never faced a situation in Amazon Fresh where I finished on time or I finished late. Morrison's for me is the worst, but the great thing with compared to Amazon Fresh is Amazon Fresh, they have their specialized design trolleys. So when you go to the station and you pick up, it's really easy to load and unload. And it's really convenient, and they have good facilities. With Morrison's, literally you walk into the Morrison's supermarket, they give you shitloads of packages. They don't give you a trolley. You have to bring your own trolley. I get a trolley from outside, put £1 in it, bring a trolley. And normally 99% of the cases, 1 trolley is not enough because they give you shitloads of packages. So you have to literally go, come back, go and unload. It's like mental. So it's just not worth it. It's just too much hassle. I mean, it takes you like 20 minutes just to get out of the station. Whereas at Amazon Fresh, you're in and out ASAP. So my advice is avoid Morrison's, but then, it's all about personal choice. But I'm just telling you from my advice. With Amazon Delivery, as I said, you have 2 hour slots, 2.5 hour slots, or maximum of 4 hour slots. You don't get anything more than 4 hours. Now, Amazon Delivery, again, in terms of locations, like every delivery, it can be anywhere in that delivery area. So if I'm in London, it could be anywhere in London. So it's all potluck. So there's no formula behind that. But with Amazon Delivery, on average, for a 4 hour slot, you're getting anywhere between 30 to 40 deliveries. It can be less, but it won't be more. And again, depending on your location will dictate how difficult it's going to be, and obviously what time of day it is and what day of the week it is. Just expect, obviously, naturally, with a longer block, 4 hours block, you're going to be delivering multiple packages at multiple delivery locations. So you're going to be having multiple challenges in terms of parking, loading, unloading, and obviously take into account that with whether it's Amazon Fresh or Amazon Delivery or Morrison's, if you hit with a delivery area which has multiple apartments, then you can imagine when you're having multiple deliveries, it's crazy parking, getting into the apartment, going up into the lift, coming down, and so on and so forth. So it's all about personal preference, and most importantly, it's all about potluck. Because I've been on 4-hour slots like I just did now with Amazon delivery, and I only went to one apartment block. I had 34 deliveries, only one apartment, but I finished in 1 hour and 20 minutes. And that was a combination of the time of day, and it's also early morning, i.e. 7 a.m. on a Sunday, which is normally quiet. And it was close by to the station in Ealing, and the station is in Wembley. And it was easy because all the deliveries were close by, within the same vicinity. There wasn't much distance between them. And I just finished a 4-hour slot in 1 hour, 20 minutes. The things that you definitely want to invest in is, particularly if you're going to be doing Amazon Fresh deliveries, is one of these carts. Now this one is one of these foldable ones. It's really easy. Look, I mean, simply just lay it out and that's it, done. That's my cart in 2 seconds. And if I want to fold it, just to show you, just lift from the middle and that's it, and then pack away. Now these are crucial because when you're doing Amazon Fresh, you're going to be with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes I've had 10, 15 packages. How on earth are you going to take it from your car to the house individually, or how many hands do you have? And then particularly if you're going into an apartment block, then it's in like a mission. So definitely if you're doing Amazon Flex, invest in one of these. Amazon Flex, particularly Fresh, definitely get one of these. Even for the regular Amazon as well, and also for Morrison's. But generally speaking, just have one of these. Any type, any budget, doesn't really matter, but have something which is pretty decent, because trust me, it's going to help you a lot. Basically, whether you should choose Amazon or focus on Amazon Fresh, Amazon Delivery, or Morrison's is personal. It's purely personal. And potluck. Everything is potluck. It's all bullshit about there's a formula and there's a system, and if you go this time or that time, or if you're third in the queue or 10th at the queue and all this stuff, it's all bullcrap. I mean, there is no such thing. Now, there is a lot of people who say, well, if you wait until the end, so basically with Amazon, you have to check in either 15 minutes before your scheduled slot and a maximum of 5 minutes after your scheduled slot. So you've got like a 20-minute window. And that applies to Amazon Fresh, Morrison's, and Amazon Delivery. So you need to be at the station and check in through the app. And they use GPS. It's not like you can check in somewhere else. You have to be at the station. You can check in a maximum of 15 minutes before your slot and a maximum of 5 minutes after your slot. I always go early, and I check in exactly on the dot 15 minutes before my slot. Some people say, well, if you wait, so basically if you imagine if your slot starts at 7, rather than checking in at 6:45, check in at 6:59, like really, really late, or even later at 7:04, because you have 5 minutes after your slot maximum to check in. After that, you miss your slot and you won't get paid. But they say if you check in late, so imagine I have a slot at 7, I check in at 7:04, literally 1 minute before the deadline, then the chances are that you might not get a delivery, i.e. you go in and they tell you we don't have any shipments for you. And if that happens, you still get paid, which is great. But the chances of that happening, I debate that and I argue against it, because Amazon have been pretty good in terms of programming their blocks. So they minimize, but obviously they don't want to lose out on paying people when they're not working. So the chance of that happening is not that high. Secondly, you're wasting time. It's all about efficiency. I don't want to be waiting until the last minute and then get a block, which is in a ridiculous area and far away. And then you just wasted, 15, 20 minutes in the station trying to avoid getting a block. But then you've got a block and it's far away, shitty area, loads of traffic or parking issues, and you just wasted your time just because you were trying to be smart. So I just don't do it. I just go in early, get in there. It's all potluck. I mean, 95% of it is potluck, which delivery zone you're going to get. There is no magic formula. Those who say wait until the last minute, as I said and explained just now, that's in That's rarely happened. It doesn't happen, basically. A lot of people out there put all these videos about a formula and what to do to avoid doing work and not getting paid. It's just all potluck. It's not worth it. Why would you waste all that time waiting to the last minute, which means it's delayed? I mean, you can imagine. So you wait until 7:04 in the example I gave, and then you're still given a block, and then you have to go load your vehicle and leave. So you're going to basically leave around 7:15, 7:20 at the earliest. Whereas if I went at 6:45 and I go straight in, I can be out by 7 o'clock. So I've just saved 15, 20 minutes. That's a big deal when you're getting paid 16, 17 pounds an hour. And particularly if everything is potluck. So rather than not getting a block and getting paid for not doing anything, you're getting a block and being sent to a location which is really shitty. So all in all, it's a bad decision. So I just don't do it. I don't recommend it, but it's totally up to you. A lot of people out there say, oh yeah, it works, but it hasn't worked for me. And I know many of the drivers who I work with, they all say the same. If you're intelligent and you want to maximize on Amazon Flex, it's all about efficiency. Getting in and out as soon as possible, delivering as quick as possible, being smart about your deliveries, which I'll cover in my other post, and utilizing and maximizing as much as possible so you finish early and get paid and go home and be happy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series. Watch out for my next series where I'll go into more detail about the app and also the pitfalls and how to maximize with Amazon Flex. Take care. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share.